What is going on, New York Giants fans? D. Illa here. So the New York Giants take on the Las Vegas Raiders this weekend. Our first trip to Vegas since the Raiders moved there. We're going to face Aidan O'Connell for his first start in the NFL. The Las Vegas Raiders. I'm still getting used to that, man, saying the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders decided to bench Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo, a player who many people wanted to bring here in the offseason for us to have him as our starting quarterback. I never necessarily thought that was a good idea. I thought that was a terrible idea from the start. And if you watched that game last week against the Chicago Bears when the Raiders were playing them, you saw exactly how bad Jimmy Garoppolo was, even though he was coming off a back injury. I mean, did you see how many times he missed Davante Adams in that game? Dude, Davante Adams could have had easily probably over 200 yards in that game. I couldn't even count how many times he missed Davante Adams on deep balls down the left sideline. I mean, there were times where Davante Adams didn't even have a defender near him. And Jimmy Garoppolo just overthrew him, underthrew him. He threw the ball in every which way you could without actually completing a pass to Davante Adams. And at the end of the game, you could visibly see Davante Adams' frustration on the sideline when he just took his helmet and slammed it down on the ground. And you could tell the organization really took notice to that. And they decided to make the change and go with the rookie, Aidan O'Connell, for this one against the Giants. So, after just saying that about Davante Adams and his frustration, I'm expecting the rookie to come out and test Deonte Banks early with Davante Adams. I expect Davante Adams to get a ton of targets in this game. Watch out for Jakobi Meyers on the other side of the field. He's been playing well this season. A guy like Michael Mayer at tight end, he's had some pretty solid games this year. So I would definitely not overlook him. He's had some games where he's caught, 5 to 6 passes a game. I think his season high for yardage this year, I think he eclipsed 70 yards at one point. But, Mayer, he's a good tight end, man. He was a highly talented prospect coming out of Notre Dame. I mean, I think everybody out there that watches football, pays attention to football, really knows what Michael Mayer can do and what kind of presence he can be at the tight end position and how good he could possibly be, moving forward. But yeah, Adams is definitely going to test the limits of this secondary. Hopefully Deonte Banks is up to the task and he's able to shut him down. But at the same time, a guy like Adoree Jackson, I think he'll probably be I don't know who's necessarily going to play Devon. I'm assuming it's going to be Banks. I guess Adoree Jackson's going to be lined up against Jakobi Meyers, and Jakobi Meyers has been a productive wide receiver with the New England Patriots for a handful of years at this point. And, he moved over to Las Vegas in the offseason, and his talent is just carried over there. And, of course, you have Josh Jacobs in the backfield, one of the best running backs in this league, the rushing leader from last year. Josh Jacobs has a lot of talent, hasn't necessarily been as good this year as he was last year, but I mean that's mainly because of the struggling offense he's been on. And, the Raiders just not being able to piece it together on the offensive side of the ball due to many different factors. And in this one, we have an all-time great New York Giant. One of my favorite players to ever put on a New York Giants uniform, during my time of being a Giants fan. Antonio Pierce is the interim head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. Antonio Pierce, one of my favorite linebackers this team has ever had. Of course, you look at guys like, Carl Banks, Harry Carson, Lawrence Taylor, and then you got Antonio Pierce is probably, he's not up to that level, but I mean, he's not too far off, man. You think about the NFC Championship, probably one of the most underrated plays in Giants history in the NFC Championship, late in that ball game. When what's his face, number 32 from the Packers, I can't remember exactly what his name was, caught a ball out in the flat, and Antonio Pierce ended up getting blocked by a lineman or a tight end. And if he didn't make this tackle, man, Antonio Pierce was being blocked by the offensive lineman, and he had just enough to where he could extend his arm out as that running back was cutting towards the sideline, reached his arm out and wrangled in that running back with one single arm. That is one of the best plays that has ever been made by a New York Giants player in my mind. It is so underrated, especially at that point in that game and what that play actually meant for this team. you know, eventually going on and winning, you know, the Super Bowl in 2007, 2008, Super Bowl 42. That was a huge play, huge play. I love Antonio Pierce. You know, you think about guys like Michael Barrow, Reggie Torbor. You know, yeah, he had some pretty good games for us. Guy like Michael Boley. We've had some decent linebackers. Nobody that was really great that stood out over time. I always thought Clint Sentham was going to be halfway decent, but he never really amounted to much. He looked like a linebacker. Just, you know, just looks were deceiving when it came to him. There's been news to come out that Evan Neal may come back in this game. Andrew Thomas has potential to play in this one, so that would definitely help our offensive line as far as Andrew Thomas goes. Evan Neal, you know, I don't even know what to think about that. Unless they're playing him at guard, I mean, I'm not expecting much out of Evan Neal other than, you know, pressures from the other team. Daniel Jones is making his comeback this week. Okay? We'll see what Daniel Jones does. This is a game where I do believe the Giants can beat the Raiders. I mean, they're going up against a rookie quarterback. You know, all the factors that I just brought up. You know, Josh Jacobs hasn't been playing well. You know, Davante Adams can't really get going due to quarterback play. I don't think there's a wide receiver in this league that has been more affected by piss-poor quarterback play than Davante Adams. I mean, this is a team that we can beat. I mean, if you look at our remaining games on our schedule, the teams that we can beat, that I honestly believe we can beat, are the Raiders, are the Patriots, possibly the Packers, and maybe Washington one more time. After Washington got rid of Montez Sweat and Chase, I mean, we should be able to beat them again, I would think. The Packers, I don't know. The Packers have a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball. If Jordan Love can somehow get it together, maybe the Packers will be a hell of a tougher team to play later on in the season. But the way Jordan Love is playing right now, there is no hope for that man. That guy's just out there playing 500 ball. Like, you know that old school game that you used to play in the backyard with your buddies, 500, where you just throw the ball up in the air and then everybody would try to catch it? Yeah, that's what Jordan Love does. He just throws the ball as far as he can down the field, and sometimes he tries those little sidearm passes like, you know, Aaron Rodgers used to do, but he's not nearly as good at it as you know, Aaron Rodgers used to be. He's just an imitation of Rodgers. You know, Rodgers may have shown him how to throw that ball, but he has not perfected it, not at all. But man, yeah, this is a game that we should win. We should I believe we should win, regardless of the fact that Daniel Jones is coming back. You guys know how I feel about Daniel Jones at this point. I don't really think there's any hope for that man, and I think I'm not even going to get into it. Not even going to get into it. Not even worth my time. I don't even want to get in an argument about it. I'm done with the Daniel Jones stuff. I'm just kind of waiting for this season to tick down and get over with so we can get off into the off season, start scouting quarterbacks, and bring in hopefully our next, you know, franchise quarterback for this team. But that's pretty much it for the video, you guys. That's all I'm going to say in this one. It's already up to like 8 minutes. God, man, time goes by so fast in these videos when you're speaking. You don't even really think that, you know, you can sit here and think that you're like maybe 5 or 6 minutes into a video, and the next thing you know, you look up and like 8 minutes has elapsed. So it's crazy. And I try to keep these videos like around 5 or 6 minutes because I know people don't want to watch the longer videos. But that's it for the video, you guys. I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you as always. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.